Hello, all. Thank you so much for coming back to learn a little bit more about conscious discipline. Let me get the PowerPoint pulled up here. And so the skill that we're going to talk about today is composure. And oh my goodness, this is a skill not only for children, but for us as grown-ups. Remember, as conscious discipline, we often talk about as the grown-up, it's my job to get myself together so that I can download my calm into a child in the classroom or into my child at home. So I have to first get myself together. I have to first myself be calm. So we're going to talk about some composure strategies here. All right. So first, what is composure? Composure is the willingness to change our internal state. So that way that you're feeling inside, the anger or upset, or how are we going to change that upset into calm? How are we going to change that anger into calm? So first, it's our willingness to change. And then composure is self-control in action. So if we want our children to have the action of self-control, so in a classroom, if we can see a child who really wants to push over somebody's blocks but doesn't, if they really want to take that big square magnet tile that somebody else has but doesn't, we say that child has self-control. I really want to eat a candy bar, but I'm going to have self-control and not. And so that action is self-control. All right, now it's the prerequisite skill that adults need before we discipline children. So when we need to discipline a child, often it moves us to our brain step because we get angry or frustrated or upset. So before we can discipline a child, we first have to get ourselves together. So the prerequisite skill, the thing that needs to happen before we can discipline a child, is that we get ourselves together, that we have this composure. It requires us to be the person that we want other people to become, whether that's a coworker, a spouse, the children in our classroom, the children in our lives. So we have to first be the person that we want others to become. So if we want our children to be patient, we have to model patience for them. If we want our children to show love, we have to show them love first. If we want our children to have self-control, we have to model self-control as well. So, wow, that's hard. All right, strategies that you can use. So here's some examples of things you can try. We use this one in a classroom a lot. And so we tell children what our jobs are. My job as the grown-up. So my job is to keep you safe. And the child, your job is to help keep it that way. And so as a parent, I'm going to say my job is to keep you safe. And your job is to help keep it that way. That may mean the action is you have to hold the side of the cart when we're in the grocery store. You may need to hold my hand as we're crossing the parking lot. So it's my job as the grown-up to keep you safe, but it's the child's job to help keep it that way. It's the student's job in your classroom to help keep it that way. And I have rooms where that's the only rule that children have, is that it's their job to help keep it safe, which is a pretty important rule. All right, other composure strategies. So sometimes conscious discipline is about changing the way we think about things. So take back your power. Instead of saying to the child, don't make me put you in timeout, don't make me ground you, don't make me give you a spanking, which are all not great choices. But change it from don't make me do whatever this is to I'm going to turn off the TV and turn off the computer so that we can have some quiet time together. And so tell the child instead what you're going to do. You're the grown-up, you have the control. And so what are you going to do? So don't make it about, don't make me call your dad, don't make me call your mom, which teachers we absolutely are not allowed to do in a classroom. That'll hurt your class score in native climate, but moreover, it's against our discipline policy. So we're not allowed to tell kids, don't make me call your mom. We're not allowed to do that. So I don't want to see that happening at all. Instead, we're going to phrase, I'm going to do this. So as a grown-up, our response is going to be, I'm going to put up the square magnet tiles until we can share better. Or I'm going to limit the table area to 3 chairs since we don't have enough big square magnet tiles to go around. Or I'm going to shut the sensory table since we can't keep the water in it today, and we'll try again tomorrow. And so you're going to tell what the action is. All right, it's little, but it's powerful. I know that we keep going back to breathing strategies, but breathing strategies help with so many different parts of conscious discipline and so many different parts of social emotional regulation. And so remember STAR, you may see these in classrooms up, parents, teachers, if you need any of these, we've got a ton of these in a PDF. We can send them out. I'm even happy to print them off for you and put them in your mailbox if you want them. And so STAR, I've heard two ways. One is stop, take a breath, and relax. And now I've seen it written more often as smile. So smile, take a deep breath, and relax. Got to do it at least 3 times. Stop, take a deep breath through your nose, out through your mouth. Try it with me right now. I bet it'll make you feel better. In through your nose, out through your mouth. Nice and slow. In through your nose, out through your mouth. You should be able to feel your belly moving when you're doing that. In through your nose. If you're not, take a bigger, deep breath or a bigger, deeper breath of air in. That made me feel better, and I wasn't even really upset. All right. Other composure strategies. So here's a different way to phrase it out. So you can STAR first. So once you start doing that breathing strategy of stop, take a breath, and relax, you can say this: I'm safe. Keep breathing. I can handle this. This is the grown-up. You're talking to yourself as the grown-up. I'm safe. Keep breathing. I can handle this. Conscious discipline uses this kind of like, I got this. I can do this. I have this skill. I'm a good mama. I'm a good teacher. I can do this. I can handle this. I'm safe. Keep breathing. I can handle this. And then you're going to say to your child, you're safe. Breathe with me. Then you're going to breathe with them. You can handle this. So see how the parent had to get themselves together, the teacher, the grown-up. First, we got to get ourselves together. And then we're going to help somebody else. This will even work if you're having like a little peer conflict in a classroom from teacher to teacher. You can both just take a pause, do some breathing things together, and start again. I know that my center that had AM and PM, their PM class would be, they'd come back from lunch and they were hurry to get their PM class that was really active. And so they started just doing some breathing together before the PM class. So they started the class calm and centered instead of just rush, stress. Let's get everything set up. Let's eat lunch. Let's hurry. And it really changed the whole climate of the afternoon. The positive climate in our classroom was much better. All right, safe place. You guys have so many amazing safe places out in classrooms. If you don't have a safe place in your classroom, you are required to have a safe place as part of conscious discipline. So give me an email if you don't have what you need. We will make this happen. The CDAT committee wants to give you the support that you need. And so tell me what you need for your safe place and we'll see what we can do. They don't have to all look the same. This is one where it looks to me like they used like an empty cupboard space where sometimes maybe we'd even put trash cans underneath, but they've got like a little rug for soft and some padding, a soft thing, a little snuggly there. Looks like they made their own sign telling about it being a safe place. We've got some breathing strategies underneath here. I see the bottom part of the star. We've got the pretzel. All of these breathing strategies, Jen has a really nice one on our YouTube page that does these different breathing strategies. So you want practice with breathing strategies, check out Jen's really good video on there. I thought this one was cool. This one, they've taken a bulletin board and they've hung from above. So I'd not seen that done before. I thought that was pretty creative. They've got something soft and squishy. They've got our breathing strategies here. Looks like they have the I can calm board. They've got some faces with expressions, maybe the choice boards under there. It's a little bit hard to see. And maybe some books about social emotional. And so this one's really nice and it's different too. Some of you may have like the little cubbies that are pre-bought that you've done, and there's lots of different things you can put them in them. Parents, if you want to know more about the safe place, Jeffrey and I have a video on the YouTube channel about the safe place. It's about 10 minutes long and it's got a ton of examples and it shows how parents can make safe places at home. And so we all need a safe place. For some of us right now, it may be in our car, just taking a breath in a moment away from everybody else, where we can have a minute to calm and breathe and get ourselves together. But we have to find ourselves that space. All right. A part of conscious discipline are these brain smart principles. So I thought I'd share some of those with you today. And so this one's really cool. And this one really took my brain a while to wrap around. The best exercise for the brain is just exercise. And so it's hard right now, right, in this Ohio winter to get exercise. But if you have a child who's having trouble with composure, getting them doing something active, getting them some kind of exercise, yoga, dance to music, do an obstacle course, make it, crawl under your table, make an obstacle course around the chairs at your house, get up and moving. The best exercise for our brain is just exercise, which is kind of cool. All right, this one's neat. The brain is pattern seeking and survival oriented. So we've got that fight or flight or freeze. You've seen those before probably. And so when children are stressed out, some kids run away, which is kind of scary in a classroom because we're so worried that they're going to get hurt if they dash out of our classroom. And then sometimes kids freeze, some kids hide under a table. Some children, if you have a safe place, they can go to the safe place when they get to this fight or freeze. And so we're survival oriented. The brain is looking for patterns. When this thing happens, then this thing happens next. When this happens, then this thing happens next. So they're going to seek patterns together. So in a classroom, here's one that I use. If you're using the lights, dimming the lights to settle kids down, which is a strategy I teach in trainings, if that child associates the lights being off with something bad that happens or something scary, it may put them back into a place where that trauma is happening or something scary is happening. And so sometimes you have to think about that cue. If I clap in a classroom to get attention, which is not something I recommend anymore, I did it for years because I didn't know any better, but sounds a lot like a gunshot. So if you've had children in your classroom that have experienced a drive-by or gun violence in their neighborhood, that may be enough to trigger. So remember, our brain is looking for those different patterns. That's why when we do breathing in those 3 chunks, we're making that pattern. All right, the third one, connections on the outside with other people. So hugs, eye contact, high fives, connections on the outside, build connections inside in your heart. And so think about those action things that we can build. So if you were wanting to build connection with the child, lots of times we do I love you rituals. That's another video you can watch on the YouTube channel. And if you Google I love you rituals, we even have some extra ones on the channel that Becky Bailey did. But there are ways that we can have eye contact with our children, we can make connection, and we can have those positive connections experiences. Maybe the next time I have my grandbaby over, I'll do the one, he loves it right now, he's 15 months. He'll hold his hand out flat and I'll do little circles on it and it's tickly, so it's fun. And I make really good eye contact with them. And I say, roundabout, wee little mousey. And then I tickle up his arm, up the tree, into his little housey. And I give him a little tickle behind the ear. And his brain now is pattern seeking. So he'll know that when I do this, that it's going to tickle and he wants it again. So what does he do if he wants it again? He holds his hand out flat and then we do it again. And he wants to do it over and over and over again because I'm 15 months old and I want to do the same thing over and over so I can really learn it. But remember, there's connections on the outside, hugs, high fives, eye contact, sitting in my lap, snuggling while I read a story, getting under the covers and watching a TV show together. Those things are building connections on the outside, which build those connections inside in our heart. And if we want to make change with anything social emotional, connection is the key. So how am I making connections with my child? Are we having conversations? Are we playing together? Are we having shared affection? What kinds of things are we doing that are showing the love and connection? All right. Oh, I already kind of jumped to number 4. Connections are made with eye contact, touch, and presence. So presence is where my mind is, my body is too. And man, like technology is so much fun right now. I love TikTok, but if I'm on TikTok flipping through it and my son is talking to me, even though he's not a little child anymore, I don't really hear him. I only kind of hear him. And really when he's talking to me, I want to stop looking at TikTok, turn my phone over, make good eye contact, and really have a conversation with them, because that's what's going to build that connection. If we're watching TV or we're watching, I'll sometimes pause the TV if I really want to have a good connection with the people in my house. I'll pause it during a commercial and I'll be like, okay, for 1 minute, can you hear this message, and we're going to make this connection. And so where your mind is, your body is. So if you're doing an activity, a play thing together, but you're on your phone while your child's doing it, you're really not making that connection with your child because you're distracted by your phone or the TV. And I know, trust me, I know. My phone tells me my screen time every week, and it's really, really depressing how much time I must spend on my phone. So got to make sure I'm making those real connections with people. All right. The brain functions optimally when the child feels safe. So if I want the child to be able to do higher level thinking things in the classroom, if I want them to analyze, compare, contrast, all that stuff on Bloom's taxonomy that's at the top of the hierarchy, create. If I want them to do those kinds of things, they need to first feel safe. If I don't feel safe, you're not going to move me up. If you want to learn more about that, there's a really good training on Maslow's hierarchy that I have, and I'm happy to send that to you. But you really need to make sure a child's basic needs are met so they feel safe before you expect them to do hierarchy things. And so if I'm tired, if I'm sleepy, if I'm hungry, you're not going to get my brain at its highest peak. You're not going to get that executive functioning, that really good, I can do math, I can do science, I can do hard stuff. You're not going to get that if you're those things. Think about that. Think about the last time you were really, 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 really tired. Maybe you have a baby that's up all night colicky. Maybe you worked a double shift. Think about the last time you were really, really tired. Could you think as well? Could you remember things as well? Did you forget things? Did you put your keys down and then couldn't remember where they are? Because when we're tired, when we're hungry, when we're not in that space where we can feel safe, our brain just doesn't function as well. If you notice that every other one was in bold, that's because your brain's pattern seeking. I did that on purpose. All right, remember, we can't teach kids skills we don't have ourselves, and we can't teach skills we're not willing to do to others. And those are both two really tough lessons, right? If I want my children to be patient, but I'm not patient, really hard to teach them that. If I'm not loving towards people, then it's really hard to have children that are loving back. So remember, whether we're in a classroom teaching children, or a parent or a caregiver taking care of a child, that child, we can't teach the skill if we don't have that skill ourselves. So sometimes we got to work on ourselves a little bit first. And we can't teach skills we're not willing to do ourselves. And so, this is my little note to supervisors. Think about this. Like, if you're asking staff to do skills, but you're not willing to do that same thing in return, that's setting this up to fail. So if I'm supervising people and I'm not willing to give people grace, but want grace in return, that's a really tough one. And so if I want people to give me patience, I have to first give them patience. So think about that skill. Got to be willing to do it ourselves first. And that's hard. I'm a grown up. I thought I was done working on myself. I thought I was all grown up, but we still have to continue to work and grow. All right. Oh, I guess that's it for Composure. I hope that was helpful. I hope the stuff on the YouTube page is good. I hope your children are telling you about the amazing books we're reading in the classroom. We keep adding some really good social emotional books. We're trying to put up shared readings of them on the YouTube page. So if you're watching the books read on the YouTube page, they're the ones that we're reading in classrooms to children, so you can connect that up together. So that's awesome. And then we're getting some more things in the classroom. The bear behind me is something that the teachers are getting this spring. They don't know that yet, but if they watch this video, they do know. And so we're adding some things that will try to help with conscious discipline and with meeting these social emotional needs that we have. So be safe. I wish everyone well.